Portland Public School teachers are seeking a new contract and say they're close to going on strike. The Portland Association of Teachers has scheduled a strike authorization vote this coming week as negotiations continue. A strike would affect almost 44,000 students and 4,600 educators in Oregon's largest school district. The major issues are pay and class size. A strike could happen later this month if an agreement isn't reached. The district also negotiating with the Portland Federation of School Professionals, which represents staff other than teachers. And here to talk about a potential strike and other issues at Portland Public Schools, Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero. Thanks for joining Eye on Northwest Politics.
Good to see you again, Ken.
How concerned are you that a teacher strike could happen?
Well, it greatly concerns me. Obviously, as a school superintendent, our core mission is to educate our students. We want to avoid any school closures at all costs. We think our students need to have their instructional program be as consistent as possible.
How are you preparing if you're not able to reach an agreement before a strike occurs?
Sure. Well, of course, we have to do some level of contingency planning. That would be the responsible thing to do. Hopefully, we won't have to use those plans, but we're very aware that many of our students and families depend on some essential services and supports. That's what we're going to focus on doing. Obviously, it's difficult to keep our campuses open without 4,600 teachers available to provide instruction, but we want to make sure that meals are available, that we provide some limited childcare for families that really don't have a lot of options to make sure that their children are supervised. So some of those essential services are what we'll be communicating to our families in the near future if necessary.
Is it possible that schools would close, and if so, would all the schools close or just some of them?
Well, essentially every school campus would be closed.
All right, so you have to prepare for that possibility. You and the Portland Association of Teachers are pretty far apart on the money. We're talking about around $200 million. What is the district's financial situation?
Sure. Let me start off by saying I think most people know I spent many years in the classroom as well. I have great respect for our educators and all of the support staff that support our students. We can't do this work without their leadership, their services. We are far apart on understanding what resources we have available. We want to arrive at a fair settlement. We certainly hope that everybody stays at the table and continues in conversation, but we see a gap between our proposal, which has a price tag of about $135–140 million, versus what the teachers union is proposing, which is about $230 million more. So I think we have to be clear about what are the constrained resources we have to work with. We want to be as generous with our employees as possible, but there would have to be some pretty serious trade-offs, and I think the community needs to understand that if we were to follow through with many of the asks that they're making.
What kind of trade-offs are you talking about?
Well, I think, you see school districts around the country, and certainly in Oregon, are entering similar conversations. I don't think families would like to see class sizes go up, arts and libraries go away, athletics, extracurriculars. That's the kind of well-rounded education and opportunity we want to maintain for our students. That's what keeps our schools vibrant. And so we have to be prudent fiscal stewards of the resources we have. Certainly investing in our employees is an important priority, but so are the other areas.
We're seeing a decline in enrollment in Portland Public Schools. How much is that decline, and how much does that affect both what you can offer and the bottom line?
Well, we have lost 4,000 students in the Portland Public Schools. That's similar to the trend that's we're observing statewide and actually in other states as well. They didn't move to another district. I don't know. Nobody quite knows if they left Oregon or where they are, but it could have severe impacts for us as a school district because, of course, our state school fund, the resources that come to us are based on that daily attendance, that per pupil. If everybody goes down, then proportionally maybe it'll remain about equal, but there's a chance that it might not. And so that could have another impact on the resources we have available.
So we've got about 46,000 students in the Portland Public School District now?
Maybe a little bit less than that right now.
Okay. This comes at a time when you should be celebrating some academic successes. While most districts in Oregon did show declines in standardized assessments, Portland actually showed some improvements. So where are those improvements, and where do we still need to catch up academically, especially after the pandemic?
Well, this is the dilemma that I think school systems have faced around the country, and certainly here in Oregon, there's been an observed downward trend in academic outcomes. You've seen exasperated pre-pandemic achievement gaps, for instance. We're proud to say that at Portland Public Schools, we were able to minimize those learning losses. We've been able to hold the line, and in fact, we saw some growth in a number of areas. And I think what we attribute some of that to is, of course, the good work of our educators, but also we've been very deliberate about some of our strategies, new high-quality curriculum materials, an emphasis on professional learning and training for our educators, extended learning opportunities like a large menu of summer programming for our students, lots of non-academic supports, mental and behavioral health as well. We think it's the coherent set of strategies that is making a difference. We're pleased that the outcomes looked like we're on the right track. We're not satisfied, of course. We still have a lot more work to do.
Where's the improvement that you would like to see?
Well, I'd like to see certain student groups narrowing that opportunity gap, in particular for our Black, Latino, Native students, for example. Even before pandemic, we observed that achievement gap. We're seeing that we still need to put a lot of focus there. And so some of the interventions and additional work and investments that we're making, we're hoping begin to show traction. But I'm certainly not satisfied with where we are achievement-wise with our Black students, and we have a lot more work to do there.
For the past few years, PPS has renovated or rebuilt several schools. I'm thinking of Lincoln, Roosevelt. Now you've got a big project at Benson High School. So what is that, and what's the status of it?
Yeah, well, we've each fall have opened a new modernized campus. You're right, this September we were very proud to open Lincoln High School, a beautiful campus. Next to open this coming fall is Benson High School, probably the largest, biggest investment of a high school campus in the state of Oregon's history. We're super excited about it. Not only if you drive by, will the curb appeal improve, but essentially it's a state-of-the-art building, both in its CTE facilities, spaces for collaboration that didn't exist before. We're anticipating that the building will be LEED Gold or Platinum certified. We're being, responsive to our cultural, our climate crisis goals that we have. And then I think it's important to note, aside from a new Benson High School, preserving some of the traditions and bringing it up to a modern campus, is also a building that will house our multiple pathways to graduation. So we are bringing together a bunch of alternative programs like the Alliance programs that have been situated at small campuses. They too will have a new school campus adjoining the Benson campus. So this fall is going to be an exciting time for our high school students at Benson, as well as our multiple pathways for graduation.
Superintendent, we've got about a minute left, but we've seen culture wars in education in different districts across the country. Do we see that here? And what do you do to deal with that when those issues arise? Sure.
Well, it is unfortunate to see partisan politics enter the schoolhouse. I feel fortunate to live in a community that sees things a bit more objectively, perhaps a little bit more progressively. I think it's important for our students to have access to an objective and well-rounded education, and we're going to continue to focus on our equity goals while we're doing that.
Superintendent of Portland Public Schools, Guadalupe Guerrero, thank you for joining Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you for having me, Ken.